Okay, Lady Ada, this Hangout is live. What is this?
Welcome to another week show and tell. It's me, Lady Ada, and Mr. Lady Ada, and you, the fine show and tell audience, are here to show and tell and explain your projects, makerspaces, retro technology, hacks, things that didn't quite work out, crafty projects, synthesizers, other synthesizers, computers, and other cool projects that you have to show off. We are going to go down the list in the order we see you guys, so when we call on your name, unmute your mic, show off your project. We always get really full, so please take 3 minutes to show off your project, because we always end up with like 10 people by the end of the night. If we end up, early, like we get through everybody early, we always go back to you.
We're here every week.
We're also here every week. Okay, so we're going to start off with Tony.
Hey. So I've got a couple of demos of the Android, the Bluefruit LE. So we just released the app in the Android App Store, and I'll show a few cool things you can do with it. Let me switch real quickly to the other camera. So, okay, cool. Do you see the workbench?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I've got my phone here, and just like I had last week, I've got a NeoPixel ring, and it's connected to a Raspberry Pi, and that's the Bluefruit LE connected to the Raspberry Pi. So it's got a little serial connection over USB that it uses. So I'm going to turn my phone on and run the app real quickly. So we'll go into the Bluefruit LE app, and it's going to search for Bluefruit devices or any Bluetooth Low Energy device, and I'll connect to the device. I'm going to go into the controller mode, and last week I showed off just changing the color with the color picker, but this week I have a neat demo showing the sensor data. So you can send sensor data from the phone to the Bluefruit LE, and it's pretty cool. Like, phones today are just loaded with sensors, so you can get accelerometers, magnetometers. Now the demo I have, I'll turn this on. I'm using the magnetometer, which is basically like a compass, so it figures out which direction the phone is pointing, and you can see it lights up a pixel, and as I turn the phone, it'll follow the direction of the phone. So you can see I slowly turn it, and the pixel is lighting up in the direction there, and I can turn it real quickly and say, go that way. It updates about once a second or so you can kind of move it around slowly and see how things work. So it's pretty neat that you can get this kind of data and stream it from your phone to a device like the Raspberry Pi here. And I mean, you could do all kinds of crazy stuff. You could make like a user interface. You could put the accelerometer on, so if you tilt the phone around and do stuff like that, then it'll pick it up. But this is just kind of a neat demo of that. So the other thing, let me turn this off real quickly, is a demo of something else you can do with the Bluefruit LE. So you can run it in a special mode as a Bluetooth Low Energy sniffer, where you can actually look at Bluetooth Low Energy packets as you use them. And I was walking through the store earlier in the week, and I found this neat thing. It's a Bluetooth Low Energy light bulb, and let me turn it on here so we'll get a little more light. And it's this thing. It's the Smart Bulb Colorific. It's just a cheap. It was about maybe $15 per light bulb, but it's an RGB light bulb, so you can set the red, green, blue color, and it has a little app that you can use to set the color. But who wants to use the app? I mean, that's you're locked into what they let you do. It's not really that interesting. So I actually figured out I was able to sniff the protocol using their app and see how to actually control the light bulb using Bluetooth Low Energy. And so I've got a little Python script running on the Raspberry Pi. Now it's using a Bluetooth Low Energy USB dongle. It's not using the Bluefruit right now, but I did use the Bluefruit to figure out the protocol. So when I run this script, now you can see the light is actually changing colors here. This is just a little lamp that's holding the light bulb, and it's the green color doesn't really come up well in the camera, but now it's going to blue, and it'll just cycle through all the colors every few seconds or so. So it's kind of cool. I'm sending out the packets just from some Python code on my computer here that's telling it to change colors in this way. So you can really go crazy and make like an email notifier that flashes certain colors or something like that when something happens. So it's a neat demo of what you can do with the Bluefruit. It gives you that low-level control to record all the Bluetooth packets. Yeah.
What's cool is that, like Raspberry Pi has BLE capability, with Windows 7 doesn't. So,
right.
You can actually, this is actually a project that you can pretty much only do on a Pi or a Mac OS 10 machine, because it actually has BLE capability. And what's cool is BLE, like, it's pretty much like small packets of data, and like rarely are they encrypted. So it's really easy to do this kind of replay and hacking. And there's a lot more BLE products. So we're gonna see a lot of people doing stuff like this, where they take an off-the-shelf Bluetooth Low Energy enabled light bulb or sensor or product and then hook it up to their Pi. this is a really great project using off-the-shelf.
Right, exactly. And and one real quick funny thing, as we reverse engineered this protocol, it turns out it looks like they're using a proximity sensor chip inside of here. So they're doing some funky things, I think, to save costs. So it's kind of funny what you can see when you start looking at the low-level protocols.
Yeah, you're like reverse engineering. You're like, whoa, what did they do? Yeah, they probably took something that existed, and then like it was probably like a light switch that when you put your hand near it, it turned the lights on and off or something, and they already had that, so they just like. They got it. Look, people who make the products that end up on your store shelves aren't any less lazy than we are.
No, it's so
right.
cost.
Thanks, Tony. Next up, Noah and Pedro.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, Pedro's been doing a lot of experimenting with the new Amber printer. That's the DLP printer from Autodesk. So he printed out a couple things we just want to share with you real quick.
Yeah, I think I sent a couple of these over to you guys, so here we are. Looks like sort of extruded.
Yeah, so this is like a little robot we put together. It's a little enclosure for this a mini USB LiPo charger.
Yeah, I really like the way that you can like see through and actually like figure out like why your tolerances aren't working or something like that, so you can see inside of it. It's pretty cool. Very good quality that we're getting out of these. So this is another one of our old projects, a coin sound little project that we have.
Does the printer have? Do you know?
Yeah, so this is printed at 25 microns.
And here's the difference between 25 and 200 microns.
Yeah, so there's a pretty big difference there.
Oh yeah,
it's like 8 times more precise.
Yeah.
Definitely on the edges of that question mark, you can see the big difference.
Yeah.
And then it works pretty well for diffusion. Pedro, do you want to just do a quick test on that?
Oh yeah.
So it lights up really, really nice.
Sorry, we got to hear this again, just to see the light diffusion, but
pretty
cool.
Wow. Yeah, it lights up. It looks a lot like acrylic or frosted.
Edge lit, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the DLP 3D printer. Is that the right?
SLA DLP resin based. So many words that you got to put in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's excellent for like tiny little enclosures, like the Pi camera here that we got. So you can see the detail that we're getting out of some of the little snap-in pegs.
Wow.
On that. Wait, confusing.
Is it backwards for you?
Yeah, it's all backwards. And then some cool keycaps.
Basically it looks like injection molded.
Yeah,
It
almost.
really does, yeah, this was a cool idea Colin had, was to make custom keycaps for older keyboards.
Yeah.
So that's a skull, and it's an escape key.
You can kind of see it's a vampire skull.
You can see the teeth. Very cool.
And then some other stuff they're working on.
Yeah, real quick. So there's a contest coming up, a drone contest, and this is Droney, the mascot. This was designed by Bruce Yan, our creative director at Adafruit, and this is going to be printed in copper fill, which is like the metal filament. And right now it's just printed in black PLA for tolerance testing. So it's like 10 pieces, and it's just a cute little gumdrop-looking drone.
It's such a friendly drone.
So cute.
This is totally not going to destroy you from high orbit or high altitude. This is a friendly drone. This is a drone friend, not drone enemy.
Yes,
this one does not crash on its own.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we're working on.
Very cool.
And, we'll look more into that tomorrow on the 3D show.
Yeah, we'll actually go over some of the support structure settings that I'm going over. A lot of info out there, but it's not all concrete, so everybody's still trying to figure out what the optimal settings and orientations are for this.
You guys have one of 15 Ember printers, so this is your leaders.
Hey, that's fine.
Pioneers. All right.
All right.
Let's go quickly back to Carmen.
Well, next up is one of my favorite Andy Warhol movies. It's just
Colorific Cat.
It's just 5 hours of Cat and Box. Okay. Next up, we're going to go to Eric, and then we're going to go to Julian. Eric, welcome back to Show and Tell. How are you?
Eric.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me back on the show.
Yeah, what you got going on?
This week I took the Adafruit thermal printer and set it up as an instant message platform for my live broadcast on YouTube. It worked out really, really well.
Oh.
All right.
Where's it coming from? All right.
One second.
Here we go. There you go.
There we go. All set. So last night, I was playing around with the MQ2 smoke and gas detector sensors, and I made this. It's a little handheld grenade, more or less, that does remote gas monitoring for like EMS workers, firefighters, and stuff. Basically, you can just chuck this thing into a building and remotely monitor smoke, butane, methane, and carbon monoxide.
Wow.
So I just took one of these cheap 433 megahertz transmitters, the really, really ultra cheap ones, and because they're amplitude shift keyed, I was able to use the Arduino to synthesize voice, and this is what comes out of it. Any handheld radio within a couple of blocks can copy this.
CO, 0 smoke, 0 rate.
Wow,
it just-
cool.
Yaps out the values, and if we hose it with a lighter, we should, if it works live, it should alert.
No, 12,000.
Get out of there.
Get out.
So we had a tornado here in my local town a couple of years ago and flattened half the town, and the big problem is the rescuers couldn't get into the buildings because they didn't know the gas levels because all the gas lines got tore out. And to get a crew in there took days to service all these homes and see who was in there. These things under $20 with the Power Boost 500 from Adafruit. Love this thing, and an Arduino, and a 433 megahertz transmitter that can synthesize voice.
That's a cool idea. And then how did you have the voice? Did you? I know how you get the voice out to the radio, but on the Arduino, do you have like a big chunk of data with like each word, or how does it speak it?
It uses the Talkie library, which does the wonky timings, the heavy-duty fast timings, and then you put in all the different words that you want to use, which is basically just the numbers.
Like you put in the phonemes, or does it know 1 and 2 and 3 words?
1 and 2 and 3, and it actually handles the data directly from integers. It works great.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And then for the word smoke, what do? You just have to kind of mess with it?
It was pre-made in the library. They
have
really? Hundreds and hundreds of words in there. I just copied and pasted.
That's the Talkie library? I don't even know about that library. That's a cool library. Talkie.
Yeah, I hadn't run across it until I started messing with the Arduino satellite. I wanted a voice downlink that people could copy, and everybody said Arduino can't do voice. It can.
It can. All right, I didn't know that either.
Proof.
I learned something today.
Well, very cool project, Eric. You come in with amazing projects. Thank you so much. Keep working on these.
Thanks, guys.
Of course, you get it as seen on the Show and Tell sticker. You can put the sticker on and then toss it into the building or whatever.
CC3000 for the Adafruit IO next.
Okay. All right.
Whew.
Excellent. Okay, next up, Julian. Unmute your mic and show us your project.
Hey, Julian, friend.
Yeah, you're all good.
Hi.
Oh, you can hear us?
Yeah, everything's great.
Oh, wow, for once. And you can actually hear me this time? No Bluetooth
Yes, there's 2 of you.
Awesome. I got a real microphone. This is my middle son, Liam. He wanted to come and say hello.
Hey.
How's it going?
He can't hear you right now because only I've got the headphones. He decided to join at the last minute.
Okay, we can make your charades.
Yes, indeed. He'll watch you later because he loves watching the show and tell later on. I'll quickly show you where I've got with my Shape Oko. When it's working, it's doing great things like this, the word the. It carved it out beautifully.
Nice the.
Exactly. But unfortunately, I think there's still got problems with the serial port because, as you can see, it then went wild on the next piece and dug in deep. So I'm still debugging that. I think they've got problems with their serial library. I see a lot of problems in the forums. So if anyone's getting a Shape Oko, stick with a gerbil shield. I think the Tiny G controller, I see there's a new update coming, but I think their firmware's got a few bugs to work out. The other thing I quickly wanted to show you was another little project that I've been working on is the Pro Trinket hooked up to a PlayStation 2 controller. And what I've done is made it so that this can send standard USB keyboard commands, because what I found is when I'm using a virtual machine for programming, which I do quite a lot from my Mac, sometimes the debugging keys, they just don't go through. Like the F keys, sometimes the Mac decides to pick it up rather than sending it into the virtual machine. So what I found is I could use an external USB keyboard, and that would work fine. But you don't always have a full-size keyboard to plug in just for for debugging in a virtual machine. So what I plan to do with this guy is have each of the keys do your common, step into, step out of, move the cursor around, set breakpoints, etc. And if I got this working the last hour reasonably well, then when I go to the desktop...
So you're actually running like your debugger, and then you're like stepping through as if you're playing the game.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
That's funny.
And so when I press save for the triangle key, right now it's just coming out with T, but that could be F5 for start or stop. And I'm going to use the analog joystick for to be able to move the mouse around. Move the mouse around and also set breakpoints, drop breakpoints, all that fun stuff. And that way I can dedicate it directly into the virtual machine. So that way it's independent of my main Mac keyboard, which for whatever reason it keeps, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it goes and sets the volume, sometimes it goes into the virtual machine.
All right, that sounds cool. These are great projects.
All right,
Thank you.
You get a SE on the Show and Tell sticker, email support@adafruit.com, and say hi to the kiddo next to you.
I will. They say hi.
Hello.
Yay.
Okay, next
Thanks.
up is Kirby. Kirby, show us your project. Hey, Kirby. Kirby G.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going? Show us your project.
So I'm at work, so my project's at home, but the other week I showed the Adafruit for Valentine's.
Oh.
And the night before I fried the cell chip.
No.
So I had to use the sound effects board and call her at work and tell her what wire to ground out. And it worked. She said yes. So.
Yay.
Oh, wow.
So then I asked if I could have my boards back to use for another project, and I was told no.
It's a piece of history. It's heirloom electronics now.
Yeah. So I guess when you're using the phone cellular, don't wire the speaker positive to the speaker ground.
Oh.
Sometimes the stakes are pretty high. Sometimes it might be a matter of marriage or not. So.
But here's the thing: you know that you're with someone who will help you debug a project, which is the most important skill. The kind of patience and understanding. It's the kind of understanding that keeps a marriage together.
Yeah. So it was good.
All right.
All right. Well,
congratulations.
You get an Ash sheet on the Show and Tell sticker for that. If you want to take any photos or do anything, send it to us as well.
Okay. Will do.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kirby. Congratulations. All right. Tuning back into my favorite Andy Warhol movie.
It's so peaceful. I can, Tony, you should make like a video.
My spirit animal is Carmen the cat in the box.
We're playing on the Raspberry Looper because it's just so relaxing. It's this cat just chilling, like.
It's nice.
Yeah, well, she's relaxed now, but wait until like midnight tonight, and she'll be crazy.
No, she'll jump on your head and be like, "Time for feeding."
All right. And we got to Julian before.
Yeah, no, but can you just?
Oh yeah, sure. All right, so Scott, show us this non-air wired board. There's no more air wires.
The Chrominius.
I've already sent off to Seed to have boards made. They had a free shipping special. I'm like, well, that's $50 saved, so off they go. I should have those next week, and then I have the month of March to put this together. But it all eventually fit on there. I tucked a. Let me get over to the screen. Is my mouse moving on here?
Yeah, I see your little extra.
Right here, I managed to tuck an Adafruit LCD on so that I had a little bit more control of the MIDI front end. And over here, I added something that was not in the original design. This is two simple low-frequency oscillators to modulate pulse width for oscillator 1 and oscillator 2. And so we'll see how that works out. I really had to cram things in. And this is a Vactrol. This is an analog photocoupler, an LED and a photoresistor in a little package. Mm-hmm. The way that the mod wheel is implemented in the original, they basically take the signal and run it to ground. When you have the wiper all the way down, it goes to ground. So I had to strap a light-dependent resistor across there to try and get a MIDI control of that. Anyway, moving on, let me go to stop sharing this and share the schematic. Why did it go here?
It's a lot of pots.
Yeah, this is, you have the DSP G1 chip, and a little bird sent me, like, I asked for one and I got 5. I'm like, okay, well, let's make a 4-voice. There's 4 of these, and a MIDI front end. These all only receive MIDI on channel 1. But if we put a MIDI preprocessor in the form of an Atmel chip in front of it, we can receive MIDI on any channel or multiple channels, and then using a set of analog switches, I built it's a 1 to 4 demultiplexer, but the gimmick is you can parallel gates so that I can send the same command to all 4 chips at once, or 2 of them, or 3 of them, and 1 off. Then you can do fun stuff like multi-timbre. You can set this to be a particular voice patch. You can set this to be a particular voice patch. You can set these 2 to be a particular voice patch. Bring stuff in on MIDI channels 1 through 3 and play 3 different things at once. Of course, I'm a ways off from that. I have to actually figure out how to program a multi-timbre MIDI preprocessor into an Atmel chip. I've done it in Z8 code 20 years ago, but I'll get there. Yeah, there's a lot of pots. I wanted, you know me. I like to have all my parameters in front of me as a control. I am not a fan of the LCD and data slider. I like having an LCD to set various things like key assign modes, but having to program the entire synthesizer voice with 1 knob and 2 switches is not a whole lot of fun. Anyway, back to me. Am I here? Yes.
Okay.
I'm here.
How many air wires were in that first board again? Do you remember?
Prominius had 1,457.
1,457. Okay.
And I went through. It took. I gave myself a week, and it took 8 days, but I wasn't here one day, so technically it was 7 days.
That's a lot. It's a lot, and it's all about placing the parts in the right location if you're going to do a board like that.
Well, since 1983, I've done something like 4,500 distinct circuit boards, and like an expert puzzle solver, you kind of gain. It's like learning a language. You learn sort of an intuitive feel of, here's a circuit block, it'll look like this on the board, and you see that in your head, and all of a sudden it appears that way on the board, and it just happens to work out.
Yeah.
So there's an art to it, but there's a technical method to it.
Have you ever had to go 4-layer, or do you pretty much try to stick to 2-layer, or what's your?
I've done, the most complicated board I've done was 8 layers, but it was a tiny little, it was a flight computer. This was about 10 years ago. It used a little, what was it called, gum sticks? I think
yeah, there's the gum sticks, the little sim shape.
Yeah, I hated the connector.
Yeah,
I think
those are the worst.
Yeah, but trying to mount that on my board, that was fun. But that was, it had a Destiny EX, I think was the name. It was an Ethernet chip, and a few other devices. It had a front end because you had to measure. You had a GPS, you had a airspeed, you had altimeter, all these little things you need to put your device in space. This was for a drone, but this wasn't for a little quadcopter. This was for something that's like 20 feet long, and you flew missions. But that would be an 8-layer board. A 6-layer board would be like I did it was a 16-slot ARM server with a 14-channel gigabit ether switch in it. That was a pain. But it had strip-lined differential pairs everywhere. But in analog, I like to try to stick to 2 layers simply because analog's kind of easy. It doesn't really need a lot of signal density. The most difficult thing in analog is it's like 1,000 parts, no 2 of them the same value. But if I have to, I go to 4 layers because the 4-layer prices are not that much more than 2 layers anymore. So.
All right, thank you, C. Scott. I learned so much. I learned so much from everybody today. This was epic.
This is excellent. All right, thank you so much, Carmen and Tony, Noah and Pedro, Julian, Liam, Eric, and C. Scott. We're here every single week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Show and tell. Make sure you add yourself to the Google Plus page, and we add you. We're up to 500 people in the Show and Tell circle.
Wow.
500. Here's a little 4-voice board.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We will see you next week, and Ask an Engineer starts in 1 minute.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See you next week.